Hey nerds, and welcome back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and we had a great show last week, but it took me some time to wrap my head around everything that's going on in light of what Marvel announced on Tuesday. If for some reason you have no idea what I'm talking about, Tuesday they had their big Apple-esque keynote where they announced their movie lineup for the next 5 years, all the way through the end of Phase 3. Part of why I was trying to figure all this out is they did announce an Inhumans movie, which, as you know from last week, was a big part of my theory. So I just had to figure out how that fit with what we were seeing in the show. But I've also got some theories on who Ward actually is and who Skye actually is. So all that is coming at you on this episode of Theories and Conspiracies. So first of all, let's talk about what has changed from my theory on last week. I wasn't sure if it could still be the Inhumans Connection since the Inhumans movie was so far away. 2018 is a long time to wait for a movie that might be a payoff on what is happening with Skye and her father, except for the fact that after the event, Kevin Feige gave an interview, and in it he said, look, we were planting the seeds for Black Panther for a long time, and the same thing is basically going to be happening with the Inhumans. We're going to be planting the seeds, and you're going to start seeing things sooner than later that relate to the Inhumans and that come up. Initially, this inclines me to think that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in Age of Ultron are going to be Inhumans. But also, this could fit into my theory that, and a lot of other people's theory, that Skye and her dad are Inhuman related, or at least she may be a half Inhuman, he may be full Inhuman. They may have that some genetic marker in there to some extent. So that actually still fits, and I think the fact that Skye's father has such intimate knowledge with the alien artifact still can play into that. So since we didn't really get anything in the episode this past week to contradict that, I'm going to say that theory is still sound. Here's the fun part. We are going to talk about who Agent Trader Ward is and who Skye is. I have 5 theories or 5 possible candidates for each, so I'm going to run through them all, and you tell me what you think. Starting with Ward, the first one is actually a character by the name of Solo. Now, this is kind of a stretch because he is a kind of a do-gooder mercenary. He's guns a-blazing and shoots everyone up kind of mercenary, but he does consider himself a good guy. Now, the one thing that is interesting is he is betrayed by a man named Gabriel Grant. It's a long shot, I know, but he is kind of an out there on his own mercenary, kind of like Punisher. So long shot, but it's a good start. Next we have Paladin. And Paladin is a pretty cool character. He's also a mercenary, works a lot with the Heroes for Hire, which we know we are basically getting that on the Netflix side. But he's he's a good guy for the most part. He has fought heroes from time to time. Usually it's a misunderstanding thing. But one of the interesting things about him is he prefers to use a stun gun these days, which, if you think about what's happening in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., sounds a lot like the guns they use, the Night gun or whatever they're calling it now. But you have a mercenary who is trying to redeem himself in the eyes of maybe one special girl, stops using lethal force and just does this. So it's a possibility. We'll see. Again, it's a slim possibility, but it's still there. Now the next two, these are just kind of fan favorites that, if they happened, I think would blow everyone's mind. But the first is Moon Knight, and this is Marvel's version of Batman. If Batman wore all white and was like clinically insane with multiple personalities, he is a very cool character. Instead of the bat, obviously he's got these moon items. He's really cool. If you aren't caught up on it, it's a really good read. And with his new appearance and look, it would be very easy to pull off in the comics. So all-white suit with the white mask instead of rocking the whole cape and cowl thing. So it could be very visually cool for the show. But most likely not. But I think if it was him, it would just be very fun. Now, the next is Taskmaster. And Taskmaster, I've mentioned on this before. He's just super cool. He can copy anyone's fighting style that he sees. He's a master of basically every form of combat. He's known to train all the henchmen, basically. He's got like a henchman training school. He's very cool. He's very, very popular right now. And in some of the recent comics, it was revealed, spoiler if you aren't caught up on like this was like 5 years ago, I think, of comics, but he was revealed to be a sleeper agent in the bad guys organization under Nick Fury's orders. So that's cool. And if does not seem at all likely what Ward is doing, because if that was the case, he would have told Skye, because he promised her he was never lying, all that. Still, Taskmaster could be very cool, and very cool to see on screen. Now, the last one, and this one actually, it's a really obscure character, but it really does fit, I think. And it's a character named the Challenger. And the Challenger originally was in 1941's Daring Mystery Comics. He premiered in number 7, and then he got, like all characters, got pulled through time to the future. But he's a master of martial arts, chemistry, swordsmanship, and weaponry. He's a skilled marksman, boxer, and pilot. And this one is the one that I think is kind of interesting. He has this it's a temporary immunity to pain. He through the way it's described on Wikipedia, it's through Indian nerve control training, the Challenger gained the superpower to make himself immune to pain at will. Now, that last scene we saw with Ward, where he's breaking out of custody, he clearly channels his will to dislocate his thumb. And I mean, now we did see May do something similar. It's possible this is an advanced type of shield training, but it fits with this character, the Challenger. I sincerely hope they wouldn't use that costume, because it's pretty awful, but it does fit. And so that's those are my top 5 for Ward and who he may actually turn out to be. Moving on, we have the lovely Skye. Now, Skye there are a lot of fan favorite theories about her and who she could be. One of the big fan favorite theories, and I really, this just is, for the most part, this is just out of pure desire to have the character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is Jessica Drew, or Spider-Woman. She is the daughter of Hydra scientists. Her backstory is very confusing, and they've changed it multiple times, but she's got spider powers, not like Spider-Man's, but she can, I think she has like flight. Let's see. Her abilities are all over the place. Superhuman strength, speed and agility, flight, fear-inducing pheromones, adheres to walls through bioelectric attraction, shoots beams of bioelectric energy, and resistance to all poisons and radiations. That's a huge power set for Skye not to have exhibited yet, but if she is an Inhuman and this comes all later, then it's possible those develop. I really don't think they're gonna go that route with her, because Jessica Drew really is more of an Avenger. So if they did this, they would basically have to remove Skye from the team, I think. But we'll see. An interesting thing though is her dad was working with a scientist named Herbert Wyndham. Herbert Wyndham, for those who don't know, becomes the High Evolutionary, a giant guy in purple armor. But they worked together in a base they had set up in Transia in the Wundagore Mountains, in a futuristic citadel that an Inhuman contact had given them. So her dad and this other guy had contacts with the Inhumans, and they were using basically alien Inhuman technology, and so that could explain how they have their knowledge of the alien artifacts and how to use them and manipulate them and things like that. So that's Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman theory. The next, Agent Sarah Garza. She was a SHIELD agent, a computer specialist. This one really does have a lot of merit. during the one of the more recent storylines where Thanos invaded and Black Bolt did have to set off the Terrigen bomb, she, being a Inhuman descendant, had these latent powers. So she's already an agent of Shield and basically a computer specialist. That sounds exactly like Skye. And dormant Inhuman powers, because she's a descendant of Inhumans. That's also a theory that we have going. After the Inhuman event, she basically gets to shoot plasma, so she can shoot things out of her hands now. She's had some issues of controlling it, which, obviously, new power manifestation, you would have that. But it's this is a really strong possibility based on the fact that those are Skye's. That's her wheelhouse, is the computer expert, and she's now Agent of Shield, and this is an unknown character, so this would be an easy route for them to go. And she's a part of Shield and formerly the Secret Avengers, which basically that's what Coulson's team is. They're Secret Avengers. Nick Fury called Coulson an Avenger, so that's number 3. Number 2 most likely, and this one, sorry, number 3 most. I'm going to number 3. I screwed up my numbers. Number 3. This is a character named Quickfire. Quickfire is another very kind of obscure character. Her real name is Barbara McDevitt, and she is a corporate spy, basically, and that's very similar to what Skye was before she became an agent of Shield. When she was with the Rising Tide, she was into that kind of spying on the Big Brother stuff. I mean, that's what that Rising Tide was. But she is an Inhuman, and she does have the ability to manipulate time in small doses at this point. So it's not a overly powered ability, but she does have this ability to slow down time and things like that, which could become very useful and kind of just be one of these things that she doesn't even realize she's doing. The next one. This is the number 2. And I think this... Okay, let me just say. I say this, that there is no possible way this is going to be it, but because some people were a little concerned that I was a little too rigid in my theories and not allowing for other things, and they did reference the Trevor Slattery from Iron Man 3, that Marvel does tend to throw curveballs. The number 2 theory is Doreen Green, and if you do not know who that is the fantastic Squirrel Girl. Yes, Squirrel Girl. She is currently basically as popular as Deadpool in the comics. She is popping up everywhere. Very popular character. She's on the New Avengers. It's totally not her, not whatsoever. But she's such a fun character, and like those guys said, you never know. Marvel could throw a curveball. But she's also in one of these weird things that writers make her so overpowered. She's one of the most powerful characters in the comics. She's defeated Thanos. She's defeated Doctor Doom. She's defeated Wolverine. And her list of powers: superhuman strength, inability to lose to stronger enemies. This is what I'm talking about. The more powerful an opponent is, the more likely Squirrel Girl is to emerge victorious. Then she's got all the squirrel abilities, but the best one is communicate with squirrels, and she has 2 squirrel buddies, Monkey Joe and Tippy Toe. Wouldn't you just love to see them on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show? I mean, of course, you wouldn't need the rest of the team with that inability to lose to stronger enemies power. That kind of takes the fun out of it. But anyway, Squirrel Girl is a big fan favorite. She is not coming to the show. I just thought I'd throw that out there because it's funny. But the number 1, if we are assuming that my theory from last week is not correct with that super obscure Inhuman who was only ever mentioned but never ever seen, and we're thinking it's someone else, possibly a mutant, but a mutant that is now just going to be considered an Inhuman. The other theory that is out there that a lot of people really like is Daisy Johnson or Quake. Her powers are given to her by her father, so she's technically not a mutant. She was experimented on, much like in the way that Jessica Drew was. And Quake Daisy Johnson. So she's got this crazy father who just so happens to be Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. And yeah, he's a scientist to experiments, and he's got like a kind of growth hormone to superpower characters, which is very much like what Hydra was trying to do in season 1. So there could be a tie there, except that it's already come out that he hates Hydra and reluctantly starts working with him just because he wants his daughter back. Daisy is a secret Avenger. She led up a team of Nick Fury's basically secret agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The family stuff is really kind of the big compelling things here, and she really does grow in her responsibility within S.H.I.E.L.D. just like Skye is doing. So it's her abilities are seismic energy manipulation. She can cause earthquakes if her name didn't give it away. So anyways, those are the theories. The last one theory I did want to throw out, and this is way long shot, and this was about the mystery guy who was tatting himself up. And when Skye said, "Oh, I know what this is, it's a map," I completely agree with her. I found a website that was basically trying to make 2D maps of the universe, and how would you do that, taking into account planetary drift, all this stuff. And it's just, you would have to do kind of a generic symbols, not position you wouldn't try and map out scale and space of planets from their sun. You would just say, here's a sun, and here's how many planets go to it. Very much like how what we saw Coulson and everyone else drawing. Now, there's a character named Manifold, and he's Australian. So this really, there's no way this could be him, but it's interesting because he's got this symbol on his chest. And Manifold opens portals. And if you had where you're going, if you have maps, you could open portals to anywhere you want to go. And he basically can. And he's a very powerful transporter. But on his chest, he's got these 2 circles connected by a line. And it just looks very similar to that map. And I really don't think that guy is Manifold. But it is going to be interesting to find out who he is, because the creators of the show, Jed Whedon and the rest, I'm blanking on names at the moment, I apologize, they have been very tight-lipped about who he is. So it's very possible he's going to be someone important. But that's it for now. What did you guys think of my list of who Ward and Skye could be? And where do you think we still stand on the whole Inhuman theory? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next, actually, we don't have a new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this next week. We have the 75th anniversary of Marvel special. But after that, we are back with a new episode that is supposed to give some big answers on the whole map issue. So until then, this has been Theories and Conspiracies for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I am Brian from Good Nerd, Bad Nerd.